Hey there, guys and girls, and welcome back to another art tutorial. Today we're pretty much just gonna go over some shading with color. See this? Yes sir, yes sir. That's a little crazy. Alright, check this out. So pretty much I'm gonna do 3 different mediums. Which the medium is like, what type of it's like the not the style, but like the materials you're using to create art, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with color pencil. So it's gonna be the same as the last video, except in this video it's gonna be with color. So I'm pretty much still gonna be shading a circle because like the basis or whatever. But like, yeah, where's my pen? Let me use this pen real quick. So this one is gonna be it's gonna be pencils. And this is markers. Oh my gosh. Oh, I almost classified. Is that markers? I think it is. Anyway, so pretty much I'm gonna be explaining how to do this. So first off, grab some paper, grab a pencil, if you want to. I mean, if you want to actually learn something real quick, it'll be pretty simple. But so we're gonna start with a lighter red, because right now I'm doing pencils in red, and I'm doing pencils, markers, and watercolor. But I'll show you the watercolor on another piece of paper. I need some watercolor paper. But so pretty much it's gonna start off the same way as the other way that we did it, like in the first video. I'll probably put the link in the description. But pretty much it's gonna start the same. So all I'm gonna do is come with a lighter tone red, right? And I'm gonna follow the roundness of the circle. I mean, it's really the exact same way with the other video, except you're using color, which, I mean, it also depends on like how you use color for it to matter or whatever. But like, since this is my lightest tone, well, besides white, I'm gonna go all the way to the end except for like the little dot where the highlight will be. And I'm not gonna add a shadow because yeah. But so we're gonna do this, and voila, right there, right? So this is my first tone. Kind of round this off a little bit right here, like that. There we go. All right, now we're gonna go. Well, wait, hold on. What color was this? This is crimson red, right? Can y'all see that? Make sure it's not blurry. Okay, crimson red. Now we're gonna go with a crimson lake. Crimson lake is a little bit darker than crimson red, right? So we're gonna start at the shadow again, but this is gonna be my mid tone. Then the reason why I like using 3 tones is because it kind of shows you the different values within it. Pretty much when you shade with color, all you're doing is using different colors. I mean, different tones of the same color. Then once you get into painting, it becomes different because, like, in the shadows they have like blues and purples and stuff like that. If you're doing like a cool painting, or if you're doing like a warm painting, you have like oranges and reds and stuff like that. But and I usually mostly do cool paintings anyway. But yeah, so we're gonna shade this in red, and we're gonna make it a little bit more this way, kind of blend this all together. I hope this video isn't that long. It might be. If it's like, I think the most would be probably 20 minutes since I'm doing like 3 circles. But we gonna see, because for some reason this time be flying by real fast for no reason. But yeah, so we're gonna do something like that, right? It looks kind of choppy right now, but don't worry about it. Now we're gonna go over to a tuxkin or tuxkin red, I think, side, whatever it is. And this is my darkest red, so I'm gonna go ahead and go to the back, try to get some better curvature on there though, something like that. It's not gonna be a perfect circle. Actually, I could have used a stencil and would have had a perfect circle, but we're really not gonna mess with that. So, but we're gonna start in the back here, and we're pretty much gonna ease our way in on our shadow layer. Now, color pencils is gonna take longer than markers because I cover up less space, and it's also not as man, I can't think of that word. Coverage. It doesn't take up as much space as markers and watercolor will. And when we get to the watercolor one, it's gonna be interesting because actually, I'm just now getting into the medium. So I mean, it's still the basis. As long as I know the basis is really all that matters. It's not hard, you know what I mean? As long as you know how to shade, you can pretty much shade with pretty much anything. Then one thing I did have trouble shading with was oil pastels, but I have to learn that medium though. That looks kind of weird, but we're gonna fix that. We're gonna go back with the Crimson Lake, and we're gonna blend our way into the darkness right here, right? We're gonna get rid of the hard lines. We can kind of also go into circles as well, so we can get a better shape. So we can also kind of blend it into the shadow and then blend it out of the shadow type stuff, you know what I mean? And something like that. Come this way, kind of get a darker tone with it, you know? Yeah, we're gonna fix that a little bit. Then we can go with this red. Now this red, this crimson water, crimson red, crimson water. This red right here is the foundation, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put this back into all the other colors. And since the color pencils I'm using is Prismacolor, I'm probably using it wrong. I'm not even worried about it though, but pretty much it's a wax base color. And since it's wax base, it can't necessarily layer as good. Like, you know, like you can layer it, but it blends good, but it doesn't blend as good as, like, you know, oil would, you know what I mean? Because wax doesn't blend as good as oils. But we're gonna do something like this. Now, when I finish this circle, it's gonna make sense. We're going back with a Tuxican red, just so I can get rid of this hard line, because I don't want that hard line right there. So we're gonna blend this over this way. Now I could go with 5 tones and use a black. The only reason why I say 5 tones is because I'm using black and white. I'll count that as a tone, even though it's really just a value, but whatever. We're gonna kind of get this in here real quick. If I use black at the back, it's gonna add more definition to it, which I actually might end up doing. But until then, we're just gonna go with this color here. Okay, now I'm gonna use my white right here. Well, no, before I use white, I'm actually gonna go over the highlight a little bit. And the reason why is because when I use white, it's gonna lighten it up anyway. And it's gonna give it a smoother transition. And that's what you want. Well, it depends on what you're doing though, of course. So we're just gonna go over it a little bit so I can have some of the red within my highlight, you know, just a little bit of red. Use the white, and it's gonna kind of turn pinkish, but you're still gonna be able to see that it's a highlight, you know what I mean? And then we're gonna slowly transition this white into the rest of the picture, or the rest of the circle. Like that. So it has like a pinkish tone to it, but it's also gonna have a smooth tone to it too, once I transition it through the rest of it, like something like that, right? And we're gonna come back with my red to get rid of this right here, my crimson, what is this, crimson red. We're gonna come in here a little bit, kind of get back some of that leverage you lost, you know what I mean? Now, all right, then let's go with our mid-tone, which is the Crimson Lake. We're gonna go over that crimson red, just a little bit darker, right? Circle motions. Shading is a pretty interesting process. I'm not even gonna like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but yeah, it's a pretty interesting process. Now, what you could do, of course, this is like one way of shading. Like there are multiple ways of shading. Like if you want to show like some reflective material, you would need like a lot of highlights and stuff like that, and less color. Like if you do glass and stuff like that, you need like less color, because the more color you put down, the more space it's going to take up. But if you use white, like glass is it's not transparent, of course, but you can see through it. So since you can see through it, I guess that does mean it's transparent. But since you can see through it, it makes it, you have to use less color. More of your background colors will kind of show through it rather than the colors of it itself. But we can probably stop right here. I don't want to make this video too long. But yeah, so pretty much like that, right? So you have your darkest side right here. Oh, a matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and add black just so I can show y'all how it would look. What time is it? It's we got maybe 10 minutes already. All right, let's go over to markers now. So so for markers, we're gonna do green. So we're gonna again draw a circle. I'm gonna make this circle a little bit smaller than the other one. Never mind, it's about the same size. And I know my circle is trash, don't worry about it. We're gonna do a circle. It should be fast with this anyway. And we're gonna go ahead and start shading it in real quick. I have my paper under there. I put some copy paper down so it doesn't bleed through. So yeah, make sure it's still not blurry. Okay, cool, it's not blurry. So yeah, we're gonna do the same thing we just did. I went with my lightest tone of green, which is I don't even know what that is. I'm not gonna even try to pronounce that. But we're gonna go over here with this green. And we're pretty much just gonna, like, you know, this is the base layer of green, right? Now really with markers, the bottom layer doesn't really matter, because, well, it matters of course, but it doesn't matter in terms of like how it looks, because when you go over the top layers, it's gonna really show through the top layers. That's about as good as that circle gonna get. Then we can go with a mid-tone layer. It's called grass green. I don't know why they could just call it green grass, but it's grass green. So we're gonna start over here again, and we're gonna work our way over to this side. Now I do like working the markers. Markers is pretty cool. Now these are Copic markers. They're expensive for no reason. Don't even worry about it though. But they are alcohol based. Alcohol based markers are pretty cool to use. And you actually would blend these differently than the other ones, because as you can see, it doesn't really show through, right? So what you'll do is you'll go back with your first tone, and you're gonna get rid of this hard line by blending those two. Since it's alcohol based, it'll blend pretty nicely, right? So you kind of blend it into that, and then carry over that same pigment into this color here, right? I don't have a white in this type of marker, so I'm gonna see what I can do about that. But then we're gonna go over to our darkest green, which is ocean green. Wow, I actually never looked at that before. This is ocean green. That's actually pretty cool. I never even thought about that, but okay. So we have an ocean green. We're gonna get our darkest tone right here. And we're gonna go about that far. We're gonna go like that far, right? Because I wanna go back with my mid-tone color now. And I'm gonna break that line. See how smoothly it blends? Gonna break that line. We're gonna go back into our mid-tone. And then we're gonna break that line and go over the whole thing with my lighter tone. Even go over the shadow with my lighter tone. Kind of pushing that back some, but we're not gonna worry about that either. And as you can see, it gets a little bit darker. And I'm just gonna go across this real quick. Do I have a lighter color? I can use yellow. I mean, I could use yellow. Let me just go over it slightly, just a little bit, just so I can still have it show through a little bit. Something like that. Now I know in the first video I said to, like, you know, have that side pretty, wait, let's go back with a darker color. Have that side a little bit more lighter, because the light is shining from that side. But when you're coloring, I mean, you can still have the same effect. You know what I mean? You can have the same effect. It's just that with colors, it's gonna show through a little bit differently. We're just gonna break this line, but keep the shadow. Something like that. Let's see how that looks on camera real quick. It's not bad. Let me get rid of this line real quick. Break this line too. This paper is not letting me do this right. What in the world? It keeps moving. We're gonna have to go like that, I guess. How does that look? That could work. Okay, so that's a color pencil marker. Now let's go with watercolor. This might actually take a while. I'm not even gonna think it might take a while. I'm using this paper because this is my study piece paper. Oh, let me move it up here. Okay. So this is my watercolor paper. I'm going to be using a brush like this, and I'm going to do this in blue. So let me grab some colors. Kind of already had it set up, but okay, we got some colors. I just need 2 blues because I can always just change the tone of it. So when I do this with watercolor, you can do it two different ways. Let me get some water. You can do it either, you can either use wet on wet, meaning when you can wet the paper and then start shading, or you can use wet on dry, meaning that you use the dry color first and then you wet it. I'm gonna use dry on wet for right now, and I'll show you later how to change that up. But so I'm gonna go ahead and make my circle. It's gonna be kind of small too because well, I don't have to make this that small, but we're gonna make it small. So there go my circle. Let me see if y'all can see that. Can y'all see that? Okay, I can see it. Be kind of small. We're gonna follow that same pattern, just like you did in the first video and on the other two drawings, because it's still a circle, right? Just with a paintbrush this time. Have a highlight right here. Something like that, right? All right. Now, I'm gonna kind of smooth it out just a little bit more. You see, watercolor, you gotta work with it a little bit, Something like that. It's not a perfect circle, but it's not gonna matter. Okay, so now, we're gonna go with a darker tone of blue. Which these two blues don't really mix right. I don't think they do, but we're gonna find out. It's still kind of wet, so while it's still wet, I'm just gonna add in the color real quick. Just to kind of show it just a little bit. I don't even know what type of color this is. I just know that it's there. Now blending watercolor, that is an interesting process. It's pretty cool. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dry my brush off, and I'm gonna go in circles around the edge of the shadow, right? To kind of blend it in with the other part of it. Something like that, right? And you can really use water as well. You can kind of wet it a little bit to kind of wet the undersurface to kind of blend it better. They have like a little wet puddle there, but not like a super big puddle, just like a wet puddle. And you can kind of get some pretty interesting details with that too. Let me also go over this a little bit. Kind of move this around, because that's really not supposed to be there. I can also add my highlight by just adding water as well, but we're gonna do something like that. All right, now it's looking like a little pebble, right? Like a little water pebble. It's pretty small, like a jelly bean. Okay, now we're gonna make a darker blue, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of the second color that I put down, the second blue. I'm gonna take some of that, put it over here. I guess I can show y'all what I'm doing. Now put some of that right there. Then I'm gonna take some black. Grab some of this black real quick. That might be too much, but it's okay. Grab some black, or I could just use black. Okay, I can use this. Okay, I can use this color. Let's see how that looks real quick. Oh, yeah, that can actually work pretty nice. Okay, cool. We're gonna put this down, and it's already starting to dry up pretty good, so that's cool. We're gonna go this way, kind of go on top a little bit too. Something like that, right? Now, I want it to be a little bit darker than that, though. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to wet my brush a little bit, just to, blend this part in again. Okay, something like that. Nice little blend. Okay, cool. Now, 1 minute. Okay. Well, I'm going to just keep going until I finish. I'm almost done. I'm gonna go ahead and use straight black this time, because I just want to kind of blend it a little bit better. So we're gonna use straight black. I'm gonna go around these dark edges and move it over some this way. And I think that will conclude this circle. Okay, now like I said before, wet your brush a little bit, dry it off just a tad bit so you won't be running too much. And we're gonna mix this black in. That's too wet, hold on. Dry a little bit more. Gonna mix it in a little bit. Oh no, wait a second. Let me add my secondary, my trinary color. Yeah, is that a word? Trinary? It might be, I don't know. But we're gonna do something like this. We're gonna move this black over to, just to blend it a little better. I think I messed it up, but you can't mess up anything in art, so it's gonna be like that, right? Now, I'm gonna show you how to make a highlight. My highlight, you would think my highlight is right here, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wet my brush, dry it off just a little bit, and then pick up that color. Go in little circles, pick it up, dry my brush off, pick up some more, and like voila. Pick up a little bit more. There go my highlight. And I can also kind of go in circles around this just to lighten up everything else. Something like that. Kind of bring that around there. Make it a little bit more smoother. And yeah, okay. Now one more thing I want to do, I want to add a little bit more shadow to the back because I don't really like how the back looks. So I'm just going to go with some black again. And I'm going to get a little bit more coverage. Something like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dry my brush off. I'm not going to wait, I'm just going to dry it off. And then tap slowly this way. So that I can kind of mix in the black with the blue. But it's not a super opaque black. It's just, you know, kind of translucent black. Something like that. You know, give it like a little dirty look with it, right? And boom. Let me also break that line. And let me dry my brush off a little bit. Move that color around. And yeah, we can do something like that. Okay. And that's how you shade a watercolor circle too. And you can also get some pretty nice water off of that too. I don't think I can do waters right now, but there's no water. Got some water down here, some rock reflection, whatever. Got some trees and stuff. I'm really just trying to study some watercolor to see how things look. But so yeah, you have watercolor in these three. Let me write down watercolor. Watercolor. My handwriting is okay. So, watercolor, pencils, markers. Alright. I hope you all enjoyed this video. And I will see y'all in the next tutorial. Have a great day.